All right, well, welcome to Foundry University today. We are looking forward to sharing an amazing haircut. This haircut is what we call as a three-step tier circular cut. So what we've done is we've pre-sectioned our mannequin, and in pre-sectioning our mannequin, we've taken out the top parietal ridge, and we have literally taken her and done it to where you have a circular motion all the way around, moving at the parietal ridge to the back parietal in a circular fashion. Everything below that, then we went right at the occipital bone and we took a straight section right across. So what we're going to do in this haircut is we're going to do a circular design that we have also taught, which was our circle layers in a previous video. So to be prepared to execute this haircut, that's a great haircut to really dive into. So here's the haircut. We are going to work around in sections following head shape. And in working around in sections following head shape, what I mean by that is everything will move radially with the head around the head. And here we go. All right, we'll take the first section at the center of the nape, dropping this straight down. We'll take the next section at about a comb width and take a clean line, moving about a comb width to a finger width, and we're going to take this and we're going to stand it up to the ceiling. And standing it up to the ceiling to give you a side view, we will then bring that hair and we will elevate it straight up. And once we elevate it straight up, we're going to cut a circular shape. So what I want you to see is how this hair forms and it rolls into a curvature shape. So we are going to emulate that curvature shape, which is going to create essentially a concave layer, and we will work that around in a circular shape. So for you to see this, what I want you to notice is the curve that we have going on in your shape. To follow up with that, what we also want to do, we want to really establish what length and type of scissor do you want to use. So to begin this haircut, we will be starting at the occipital bone region and below. In doing so, we are going to take a comb width section, and we're going to take that section and we're going to stand it straight up. Each following section will then rotate following the round of the head. So to illustrate that, I'll take my first section, I will take my next section, I'll comb it out, and I'll slowly work this line all the way up. So as I work this line up, we will take this section and we'll work this line up to the ceiling, and then we're going to see this curvature shape. Then we'll go in and we'll curve a concave line in a circular fashion. As this releases, this is what I want you to see. Notice how this will fall in a nice concave shape, and it's very seamless, it's very soft, and it'll just disperse really nicely. What that's gonna do is cause the hair to collapse inward at the occipital bone region and below, and that is gonna also offer us movement. We'll then take our next section and we will rotate all the way around. Each section stands out from itself. You'll have just the length to follow in doing your haircut, meaning the shortest piece that we started with, that will be your guide as you move around the curvature of the head, creating a round shape in space. And then we will just continue to follow suit. And this is a great way to do layers. These layers are going to be more of the interior of the haircut for this section. And then they will drop, and then you will work to the outside corner just behind the ear. On this section, I'm going to slightly pull out over where it lives, elevate the line. You're emulating that shape and you're working in a circular fashion. My fingers are sliding gently as I'm going. I'm not pushing the hair. I'm literally carving and moving together as I do the haircut. What that's going to do is it's going to allow that hair to open up and disperse while still maintaining your perimeter length. We don't want to carve into the interior length, otherwise we would be removing too much length out of the center. So you can see the difference in balance and weight distribution. What I want to show you is I used a scissor by Shearcraft, and this is a 6-cent scissor. By using this, sometimes it's harder to get in and make that rotation because the back of the handle can literally start to push against the hair. So I'm going to use a shorter scissor by Shearcraft, and what that's going to allow me to do is make a tighter turn and not have the challenge of pushing the back of the handle into the hair. When I take this section, just for illustration purposes, You can see that a smaller scissor allows me to make an easier rotation because I don't have anything binding me up. Now I'll move into the section moving to her right side. I'll be taking this section, standing it straight out, moving radially around the head and working in a circular shape. Next section, I will have a slight bit of my guide from the previous cut section, but I'm not bringing the whole section to me. All you need is that first little bit of a guide. You can see where that shortest piece is. That then becomes my guide, and I'll work that in a circular fashion again. As you do each cut, I encourage you to release the hair and read what you have created and established, and watch the hair all fall in a more of a dot-to-dot connection. We'll take our next section, continue. Everything is step and repeat, pulling it straight out from where it would fall on the head. Work it in a circular fashion, relax that hair, and watch it just unfold. Take our last section, which is going to be behind her ear. Probably have 2 sections to go here. Stand it up to the ceiling, let that hair flop. Nothing really to get. I can step into my next section, build this hair up, pull it out, stand it up, let the hair fall over where it lives, and then you'll go through and you'll make your circular design. So the reason we've chosen a circular design is we want this hair to fall very soft. This has an idea of, if I brought this up and cut straight across, that would be more of a concave layer that would fall a little heavier. This is going to disperse and create more of a circular contour. So when we look at that again, you can see it really disperses nicely. Here's the fun part. When we take our next section, this section, we will create a new guide. It will literally fall longer than our shortest piece to give movement. We're not trying to get our layers shorter as we move up, and we're not trying to connect them. It's all going to be disconnected. So it's going to be tier 1, tier 2, and the top will be tier 3. All right, so jumping into the next section, I will drop her left side so that you can have a nice visual. We'll unravel this. And what we're essentially going to do, just as we did on the first one, is we decided how short do we want these pieces to go based on where do we want our movement to begin. Then our next section we'll drop, we'll read the hair, and we'll look at where we want this next section to fall based on the movement we want to achieve. All right, so I've dropped my left section, or her left side, and we're going to decide where we want this movement to go. I want, based on her head shape and based on the length, we want this hair to start to move just around her occipital bone and below. So we want to release that hair. So again, we'll take another section straight down. We will stand this section straight up so you can see it from the back side. Then we will rotate so we can get a good side view. I'll stand this hair up once again, and I will work in a circular contour, building my shape. Release and watch the curvature unfold. That is key. As you do any haircut, you want to take the time to read each section that you've designed and what you've created. And then we'll go into our next section, carrying through, and we're going to work in just behind the ear. When we get behind the ear, there's a bit of a conversation I want to have about this because it's super important that we're careful here. When you get to the side of the head, basically at the top of the ear, which would line up with the occipital in the back, no hair is growing below the ear. So the back section is going to be very dense. Your side section is not going to have the density. So we're going to slightly over direct this side section so we don't remove too much weight on her side panel. So then we'll take that section. I'll bring that slightly back to the back corner behind the ear. I will then stand this up and I will cut a circular rotation and allow that hair to fall. And as I go through this, I want to see how the hair is moving and opening up. Same section on the side. By pulling back, I'm going to leave this front section slightly out. We'll bring it back. On this section on the side, we'll actually converge everything, so you will have a stronger guide behind to read. We're pulling back, remember, because we pull away from what we want to keep, and we'll continue cutting a circular line. When we release this, I want you to see and read what's happening as we unfold this. That's pretty cool. So it gives you this openness, but it doesn't create a hollowing area behind the ear or through your side panel that makes it weak. Again, the reason is you only have half the amount of hair on the side of the head as you do on the back of the head. So we'll rotate this back, carve a circular shape, and let it fall. So it really makes for a nice bit of movement. So let's compare her left side to the right side. When we look at the right side, we've already cut this first section at the occipital bone and down, which is a concave shape by using a circular design in technique. Gives it some movement. We'll drop this section in, and I'll take my next section. And once this is dropped down, I want you to see the difference in weight. You could do that first section and leave that and drop your whole top and create what you want. But what we're doing is we're creating a 3-tier layered haircut. Now we'll continue working around the head, taking our section, establishing the guide to move into her left side, and we'll simply work this around, create a curvature shape that will then fold over the first section that we cut from the occipital bone and down, offering some disconnection and some really cool movement. Each section is pulled straight out from the head where it lives, and you're standing that line up. So I'll then stand that up, continue cutting a circular shape. What is in your hand is what will then take shape on the head. Next section, and you step and repeat. This haircut, once you get comfortable with it, is a great haircut to facilitate on a variety of techniques and a variety of designs of different looks and styles. With many of our designs at Foundry University, it's really about a technique, not just establishing a haircut, so that you can take that information and apply it where you see fit, providing you have a strategy and a plan to create a great design. Now we're right behind the ear, which will be our last section. Standing that up, you can see your guide here where my finger is. Now again, as you're doing this, make sure you keep your elbow up so you can make the full rotation, and then that hair will then release and drop down. Now again, we're moving into the side where there is no hair growing all the way down like you have in the back. So then we're going to take the next section and we will over direct back, pushing away from us over the back corner. Stand that hair straight up, create a curvature shape, release the line, go to your next section, back to your back corner, stand that hair up to the roof or the ceiling, bring that line straight up, carve a curve in the hair, release, and our last section will then push into that one last time, and you're going to create a curvature shape. We will then release, and that will complete your section 1 at the occipital bone, section 2 above it. Again, you have one section falling, and then your next section falls above it. So let's see if we can give you a view from the profile. And I'm going to take a section all the way down. I'm going to pull this section all the way out, and you're going to see where this shape falls and allows it to create a concave shape while offering movement. Then this one literally falls over the top of it, creates a concave shape, and offers great movement. Our last section is we'll drop the whole top section. For this demonstration, we're going to section down the center of the head. We're going to be working off the high point of the head. So we'll put our comb on top of the head. We're looking for the high point and the point of distribution where the hair will rotate from, and that will be our pivot point. Everything then will work around in a circular fashion, standing it up into a circular formation. Always starting where we began, which was in the center. We'll take our very first center section, drop that. You can see that you have a very clean point that you're working off of. We will then elevate that up, start in the profile. This becomes somewhat step and repeat. Now here is where I started on this section. We want to ensure that where this longest layer is, this layer falls well above it. So we're going to take this section, we're going to be a bit longer. Elbow needs to be up, because if my elbow's down, where your fingers go, so does the hair go. I don't want a straight line, we want a circular line. So by my elbow being up, it allows me to go into the hair and craft a really pretty rotation in creating a circular shape. Then this will unfold. See how nice that falls? And falls over. We'll work off this pivot. Each section will then pivot around, following the head shape. Everything will tie into the very center point, just like we did in circle layers in a previous video. So if you think about this, you're just moving these in pie-shaped sections, which makes it really nice, working in a circular fashion using a shorter scissor. This is a 4-inch scissor, so it allows me to really carve. I don't have to worry about my handle pushing into the hair. Working to the point each time, elevating the hair up, allowing the hair to then flop over the center section. This has been consistent throughout the whole haircut. You're not pushing past over here and carving circular. You're standing that hair straight up. You're letting the hair behind the shortest piece flop over, if you will, and then you're carving a circular design line, which allows this hair to then unfold and create a really nice curvature. The beauty of this is the curvature that you're cutting, along with the curvature and geometric shape of the head, is why it takes on this shape. In all haircuts, you have to understand what the shape is on the head to execute and design the external shape that you're creating in space with the hair. So now we can see what we've done on her left side and the movement, the body, and the shape that we get. Then we will continue and we'll go right back to the center where we began. We'll take a center point, which has already for the most part been cut. Why do I want to go to a section I've already cut? I want to reestablish, regroup, and reset by design where I need to ensure I begin, because we have to make sure that we are creating consistency. Consistency in the world of haircutting and anything we do. By doing the right things consistently, you're gonna have the right consistent growth you're looking for. And really the only way to be consistent is knowing what you're doing, why you're doing it, how you're gonna do it, and what you expect to get out of the outcome by doing all those things. Circling again. Notice that this is then, when it's released, is falling over. By elevating, we're pulling away from all this hair we want to keep. We're not trying to cut into all this. We're trying to carve in this shape. So when it unfolds, it literally laps over the previous design line, an original shorter length. So that's going to create the tier effect in your design. Stand this next hair up. We're working again in a circular shape. Each section is cut over where it's going to live. For this top section, you're moving in about comb width sections to maybe, as you get to your outer section, to where maybe it's 2 comb widths in shape, because you're going to go narrow and you're going to open up your line. So you maintain control, standing this up, elbow goes up, see your guide, work in a circular contour, release, read the shape that you've worked so hard to establish and create. And then my last section will be right over the center of her forehead, and everything gets tied together. Once you have control, by meaning full comprehension of what the execution of this haircut or this design will do for you, you can pick and choose how you want to build a shape. What circle cutting does in this curvatured shape, it allows you to cut from short to long versus a straight line, which is going to be more abrupt. You're creating a curve in the hair. Why? Because the head's curved. We want this hair to unfold in a curved manner, and it allows you to go short to long, creating a really nice shape. Now that that's been completed, we'll comb this down, give it a little shuffle so we can see it from the front and what we've created. Then I want you to see the side and the movement that it's created on wet hair. And we will blow dry this out so you can see exactly what it's going to look like in a finished look. And then the back, you can see the movement, you can see what's happening, and her last side. Now to finish her off, we're going to stay in the theme of curved cutting. We'll take this last section, we'll comb this down I want you to see that by doing the curve cutting, it already offered you a little bit of a concave shape. Isn't that cool? But we want to do a little bit more. So we're going to tie in some curved shape. So I'm going to go right off the top of her head, and where the comb leaves the head, right here at this magic point, is as far back as I'm going to go. I'm going to take a section and I'm going to basically go right past her recession area on both sides, which is going to create a bit of a V. We're going to comb this section straight down over where it's going to live. Go to the very center, so you're in the center of the bridge of her nose. Comes right into your hand. Now, if my fingers are going this way, it's going to show that you're going to be cutting this way. So we need to get our left elbow up, bring our fingers in. We're going to connect backhand, and then notice the back of my hands are connected, which is also in a previous video. And as we curve and cut, we're going to create a really nice contoured shape. We'll comb that down, and you'll see a nice shape. I'll take what hair will then reach into this, comb it down into a natural fall. Carve in, make a rotation. Notice that we are not cutting back towards the back of the ear, then I would be cutting into the side. I don't want to release and cut the hair to where I have an angle to where I have hair in the back and then I'm cut like this, which is going to give it kind of a mullety kind of look. We want to keep things controlled. Then what I notice a lot in hair cutting, people will do one side one way. They might come through and cut this side. Then on this side, they'll stand behind it and push the hair in a different fashion. We want things to be consistent. We want things to move in a consistent fashion. So what we're going to do is take this section, now fingers up, which is in a previous video, rest it on your index finger. Then we will cut in a circular fashion, and then each side has been tailored and carved exactly the same. That is essential in consistency of a haircut. Next section, carve in a circular shape. So here's what's cool. When we look at this, we've got a nice movement. We have the exact same type of curvature line that we've facilitated from her occipital bone down, then her parietal ridge down, and then the top crown and above. So everything is cut with the exact same technique, so you can see that it's widely utilized, it's a ton of fun, and it's very consistent. We'll get this mannequin blow dried for you at Foundry University, and she'll be right back. So this is the finished blowout of the 3-tier layer using circle cutting, curve cutting, to really manufacture a really great shape. So to top this off real quick, we went through at the occipital bone region, we cut a circular shape which allows all that to collapse. Then from the parietal ridge and below, we did the exact same thing, which is another set of layers which allows this to disconnect, and you can see some of this disconnection in the haircut and how it opens up that space. So it allows this hair to really open and move versus layers just sitting on the top and relying on a bunch of interior texturizing and things of that nature. And then the top falls in, really creates a great connection and balance. And we're gonna go through, give it a little reflective shine to finish her up with this blowout that was done by one of our amazing Spark artists. We know you like what you saw, so subscribe to Foundry University today. We've got weekly lessons and so much more. See you next time on Foundry University.